And hello, good people of the internet. It is I, Tommy Kelly. This is Adventures in Woo Woo, and welcome to another episode of the monthly one card 47 Divinations for patrons. And given that the only people I think who actually watch these videos anymore are the people whose divinations are being done, let's just get to it without any preamble. So, Peter, should I continue on my current spiritual path? The seer. So what's your gut feeling about it? There's usually a thing when people ask questions, including myself, because I am a people too, that there's kind of a presupposition in it, should I continue on my current spiritual path? Because you're obviously already feeling that you shouldn't, because if you did feel you were on the correct path or that you should continue, you wouldn't be asking the question. It would just be a thing you'd be doing. But because you're kind of asking the question, there's an implication there that there is a sense that maybe you're on the wrong path. Now, just because you have a sense that you're on the wrong path doesn't mean that you are on the wrong path. But given that this is the seer coming up, that it's saying, have a look at your gut feelings. And that could be complete opposite to what I'm saying. It could be you be going, well, everything is kind of pointing that this is the wrong path, but I have a sense that this is the good path, or it's the right path for me, even though it's not working out, or even though it's not the norm, or even, it's not what my family, social, community want, or whatever like that. So just have a feeling of, how does it make you feel? What is the sense you get emotionally in your body when you think about it? When you think about giving up, or when you think about continuing? If you were to toss a coin in the air, and while it's in the air, heads or tails, heads you continue, tails you don't, what is it that you want the coin to land on? And then don't worry about what the coin did land on. Simon, what should I focus on this month? The Levitator. So, seeing things from a different angle, from above, from the bigger picture, looking down on it, not being kind of embroiled in all the kind of minutiae or the details or the drama. Try and see it from a different angle, a more objective angle, or a different, not necessarily an objective, but not just your own subjective angle, not the angle you're kind of seeing it from, not from within the situation. So whatever situations arise, or whatever challenges, dramas, life throws at you this month, just try and go, right, just kind of look out of it, or even kind of, stay aloof out of it. If there's a lot going on, just don't get involved. Just don't, if people demand you have an opinion, say, I don't have an opinion. And don't get involved in details or in the drama and stuff like that. Just kind of be above it, see it for what it is, and easier said than done. Sometimes it's quite easy to stay out of it. DT, is it worth trying to learn an instrument right now, or should I focus on my other goals for the time being? Let's see. The Desperate. So this would suggest. So the question, is it worth trying to learn an instrument right now? And it said that there would be an awful lot of frustration with it. There would be an awful lot of pulling your hair out, getting to grips with it. So I would suggest maybe not the best timing, according to the 40 servants. There's part of me that wants to go, it's always a good time and it's always desperate. Learning anything new is a situation where you feel out of place, where you don't feel you're able to do anything, that you're not getting anywhere. It's like that first day of a job where you just don't know what's going on, and you just feel like a fool, and you feel like you'll never get to grips with it, and then 2 weeks later you're telling everyone else how to do it, or it's second nature to you. So there is a sense of that. Always learning something, trying to learn an answer is always, there's a hardship with it. There's a thing coming into it, and you have to decide if that's what you want or not. I think what's the mixture between the 40 servants and my brain is probably trying to get out here is that you decide whether it's worth it or not to put the effort in, because it's not going to come easy, because none of these things, to learn guitar takes a long time, to learn piano takes even longer, and then to be good on either of those things, or whatever it is you're trying to learn, takes a lifetime. So is it worth the desperation and pulling out the hair and the frustration and the feelings that you can't do it and all that you have to go through in order to get it? And only you can answer that. Jane, new month, new plans. What can the servants offer to guide me this month? Where? Here we go. To deplete it. So that something is ended, that it's come to an end of a cycle, that there's no more energy. There's in its most severe things, it's burnout. It's being at the end of your tether. It's just having no energy left. It's been at that kind of thing. But it's something. Remember, all of these things are cyclical. The tree will grow leaves again. It's not a dead tree. It's just it's at its lowest. It's at its nadir. It's at its lowest point or whatever. So if new month, new plans would assume that you have in some way given up on old plans or some sort of change, and saying to recognise that there's an ending happening. Sorry about that. Had a bit of an interruption now. That is inevitable when you try to record. No one will annoy you all day, say anything to you until you try to do something, and then everyone wants to. It's new months and plans. So there's this kind of implication that you're trying something new, but to remember that within trying something new, there's ultimately an ending of something, and that has to be acknowledged, and that there's a cyclical thing to it, and not to be that even though the energy is evaporated now or spent right now, it doesn't mean that that's it forever. You don't have to put, never say never. Never say never again, those type of things, and to move forward, but not to throw away everything from the past. Rebecca, I just celebrated my birthday and would like to know what team or teams I should focus on for my next yearly trip around the sun. The dancer. So this would kind of suggest the dancer usually, I suppose, is just saying that things aren't going to go your way and you just have to go with it. But it's not always that way, and that's not the feeling I'm kind of getting for this. That you're going to have a terrible year and you just have to get over it. But it's just more to just go with the flow of it. Don't try to have any expectations. Don't try to demand that things work out in a way. Don't have too much planning. That can go wrong if you want, and just kind of go with it. Whatever happens, just kind of dance in the rain. Be happy, be joyful about whatever happens, rain or shine, and see what unfolds, rather than necessarily having allow the world to present itself to you for a while, rather than trying to demand that the world be in a certain way or you be a certain way, or that events and situations. Just kind of be open to the good, the bad, the indifferent. Because sometimes dancing in the rain is really enjoyable, and turns out it's what you wanted to do in the first place. Indy, how can I increase self-confidence and feel as though I deserve a seat at the table of life, so to speak? Good question. The librarian. So this is to say to get if your self confidence, and I don't know your situation, is something to do with feeling that you don't know enough, or that there's an inadequacy in some sort of knowledge or qualifications or something like that. Listen, that maybe do that. It's while, like, say you're really, really good at programming, and you taught yourself, and you're finding it hard to feel like you don't have, you have imposter syndrome, and you're trying hard not to feel that you are legitimate. Excuse me. That even just going and passing the test at it, whatever the programmer's test is, I'm sure there's many of them, get some sort of qualification, even though you already know the thing, could be something that you could do in order to feel some sort of validity. Validated validity, you know the word I'm on about. I know myself, I've no qualifications in any of the things I actually do. And I remember going to, when I was working on games in Dublin for a while. And part of the thing was that you had to have a degree to be working there, and I didn't. And it's not that I lied or anything. And it was just kind of, I understood if that was something that I wanted to pursue as a long-term goal, rather than just kind of coming in as a freelancer for a number of months, that there was a kind of a sense of illegitimacy, even though I knew as much and oftentimes more than the people who had the degrees or whatever. So maybe that's the librarian is suggesting something that in order to have a legitimacy, there is a need for a qualification or some sort of social community or learned or exam or something that needs to be passed. But it could be just you need to know something too. Like the librarian is like it's knowledge. But it's not practical. It's not a practical use of this knowledge. It's like it's knowing the theory rather than knowing the theory of plumbing rather than actually fixing the tap. So it's something along those lines. Meredith, how can I set healthier boundaries with my work? The master. So be the highest expression of yourself, which I suppose in this sense is kind of saying don't accept things on any level that you don't want to accept, that you on your best day wouldn't accept. It's kind of, oh, I'll let that go, I'll let this go, right? I understand that person's a bit like that. So you have to make allowances for these things. So it's no qualifications, anything. So this is my boundaries, that's it. There's no leeway, there's no, I'll let you off this time, any of those things. Boundaries set in place, this is what it is. And, don't ever give in to any of that. Be the highest expression of what you want it to be, which is if you have boundaries, then the boundaries, non-negotiable. Again, often easier said than done. Red egg. Where should I be putting my attention this month? Two in a row. The master. On your highest expression of yourself. I'm trying to be, because oftentimes we can have an incongruity between how we're expressing ourselves and how we see ourselves. Like we see ourselves as a good, generous, easygoing person, yet we'll go home and scream at the kids. Or I'm free and easy. I know I am free and easy. As soon as I get stressed, I'm not free and easy. So it's to try and walk in the shoes of the highest expression of yourself and kind of walk the walk rather than doing talk the talk. So if you're someone who values being on time, that's a high priority and a high value for you, be on time this month. Or if you think yourself as a kind and generous person, then you have to actually be kind and generous. And that includes people you don't like. That includes situations that you find tough. That includes situations where you would normally justify in some way not being kind and not being generous because fuck them or whatever it is, So just be the highest expression of yourself in some way. Gilherme, what elemental energy, fire, water, air, earth, am I lacking and should I work with? Okay, the balancer. So, you can have a strict kind of elemental thing to the balancer, but what I'm suggesting is, it's saying is this in this month, what you actually need to do is not focus on any of them, on any one thing. It's to try and get them all into balance. It's like that work-life balance. It's like that study, practical use of it. It's trying to put all of it into a kind of a balance, into a flow. Oftentimes, we will find that we're siding to one side of the elemental wheel, and while we have fire in our belly, we have the idea, and we understand it, whatever, but we're not actually applying it to real life. We're not actually putting it into our day-to-day, into the mundane world. We're not walking the walk, as I've seen in a previous one. Or we have all the ideas. I know how to, when the idea is finished, I have the idea for the book. I know how to publish the book. I have all of these things, but I'm not actually doing the work, And so it's trying to have a look where all of them are in somehow balance. You're getting a bit of inspiration, you're doing a bit of work, you're understanding it, and you're bringing it into your daily life, all as a holistic operation. That's what I'm suggesting. The balancer is saying. Winter. What should I keep in mind this month as I choose where to invest my time and energy? To deplete it. So, what should you keep in mind where to invest your time and energy is that you could be very easily lose all your energy by investing it in something, that not that you can get burnt out very easily, and that there isn't, there's only so much you can give, there's only so much you can do. Um, so, as you're choosing where you're going to do this kind of thing, you have to go, well, I can't overextend myself, I can't give too much because that's going to lead, there's a really good chance of burnout or depletion. And also this kind of idea of maybe you don't have to do anything, or maybe have a rest, maybe see the natural cycle of things that you're in a place, possibly, you will know, where you just have, it's come to the end of a cycle or something. It's just like, just have a pause, maybe have a pause rather than trying to see the next thing. What am I doing? What am I doing here? Just, something like that. Either a sense of watch you don't get burnt out, or notice that you're at the end of something and don't necessarily have to jump into something new. Is Vincenus. Between work, home, and my two side hustles, I'm working on a lot of projects and I have a lot of responsibilities. How can I better prepare for unknown risks to make sure I don't drop the ball? Can you? Let's see. Unknown risks so you don't drop the ball. Good question, Vince. The tinker. I mean, apart from I think there's an initial kind of a nudge or a poke at you there in a kind of in a humorous way, to just think about it, have a think about it. It would be that kind of rational thing or that mundane kind of thing of making lists, making schedules, making timetables, all that boring stuff, all that logic stuff. We go, how do I make sure I don't drop the ball because of it planned meticulously? And I can't. I know exactly, 4 o'clock, happy time with my wife. 4:30, happy time with myself playing games, whatever it is. 5 o'clock, work, all that thing. You could do it down to, third bite of my cereal, 8:31. But yeah, I mean, that's the answer, and it's a boring answer, and it's not very exciting, and it's not very magical. It's just schedule and keep a notebook with you. I find that very helpful. Not just your phone, like something that you can write down into. I have two actually for two different things, a general one and a more specific one. Yeah, and there's a lot to be said about having a routine. In that Tuesday night is always podcast night, no matter what. Wednesday night is gaming night. Thursday night cinema. If you have a thing that you're always just in, so that there's never a case of that you're missing it out, because Tuesday night's always, podcast nights. That's what I do on Tuesday nights, after work, or Monday's research night. And it's just, you get into that routine that you can't really drop the ball without yourself knowing, because on a Tuesday night whether you did the podcast or not, or whatever is the equivalent. Routines don't work for everyone. They certainly work for me. That's all I can say. Grayson, what should I be aware of this month? The sun, power, energy, radiance, illumination, enlightenment. Really nice card. You should be aware of all of the good things, the brightness. It's not necessarily one of these things, focus on the positive. It's not really that. It's like, this will shine through, literally. This will illuminate itself. You don't need to believe in the sun, the goodness of the sun, for it to, give you vitamin D. Although seemingly you do. The more you take the sun in a mental way, you get more vitamin D. So I take that back. But you get my metaphor that plants are going to grow whether they believe in the sun or not. It's a thing that just illuminates and shines. It's the powerhouse. It's the mitochondrion. It's the powerhouse of the cell. All of this. The sun is the powerhouse of the universe, the solar system. And so it's not a kind of a focus on, be positive and see all the good things around you. It's that will just radiate. It'll be there, and you will notice it rather than you'll have to go looking for it. It'll be interesting how that works out for you. That's a good thing. Be aware of the power, the radiance, the thing that gives you life. Be aware of the things that allow you and make you who you are, and the situations you're in and the events. Probably more in a positive sense. I don't feel any kind of a negative thing from that. So let me know how you go on with that. That'll be interesting to hear the feedback. Alex, I'm going to be put on universal credit in September, which I really don't want. What advice can the 47s give me about this? The really good thing about this, Alex, is I have no idea what universal credit is. Is it like a tax? A high tax band, a social welfare payment? I've really no idea. So I'm going to have to strictly just say what the card says. The moon. Be aware of false promises, beware of deceit, beware of lies, or something presented in a way that it isn't what it actually is. So put on your what you don't really want. I mean, it could be a case of that it might work out better for you, even though you don't want it, and the kind of the deception is yourself. But it feels like there's something being presented to you, whether that is that it's presented you have to be put on universal credit, which isn't strictly true if you look into it, or something like that. There's some deception involved. There's some, you see, there's some lie. It's not like I was going to say. It could be just kind of, but the way it's presented is a bit of a spin. But again, that's the media. It's there's a lie and a deception involved and I would assume it's either that you think it's going to be a bad thing, which I'm not. No, I don't think so. It's that how it's been presented to you, and kind of in the ultimatum, say, of it. There's something in that that's not necessarily true, and that you should look at. Hopefully that helps in regards. But if I knew what it was, I might have a better kind of inroad into what it, what the moon means. But moon is light deception, but it's also, of course, hope. There's a hope in it as well, because it's the light in the darkness. But as Irish people say, it's the hope that kills you. Sarah, what do I need to focus on this month? The adventurer. See, life is an adventure. To physically get out there. Did you get this last month? Am I having a deja vu? Am I just losing my mind? Some sort of physical getting out, doing things, rather than staying at home watching horror movies, which is, but that's it's like going out, like doing stuff, having adventures, not just staying in your own. It's about comfort zone, but in a very physical sense, not in a kind of getting out of your comfort zones by talking to people or social interaction or something. It's not. It's while there is a physical element to that, that's very much in an emotional comfort zone. It means, I know in America it's quite different, where you just drive for 4 days just to get to a gig or something like that. In Ireland, we won't even go an hour down the road for it. It's too far away. Just different culture. And, but that would be a suggestion. And if I got that card, it would be said, no, to actually go to, to start going places that are just a bit too far, that you would say, oh, that's a bit too far to go. But no, include that in your immediate area, in your kind of sense of where you live, I suppose, or something. Widen your sense of community, or widen your sense of availability of resources or places that you can go to. Some sort of moving out physically is what it's suggesting. James, what should I be doing? James, I often ask that myself. About you. Not about me. Joking. About me. What should I be doing? It's a good question. Really hard question to answer yourself. Well, not as hard as what do I want. What should James be doing? The saint. Looking for help. Meta gaming here a bit slightly, knowing some of the situations that you're in, James. It would be like if you're looking for a job, it's the it's finding a recruiter, going to the those people who get you jobs. What are they called? Like, not rather than just going to jobs.ie. Like an actual recruitment agency that can help you in that way. Possibly LinkedIn. I have no idea. I haven't used LinkedIn in over a decade, if not longer. So I don't really know if that's a viable option anymore. But I know people who are in situations with regards to stuff use LinkedIn all the time. If it's not about jobs, if it's a wider kind of thing, it's that to in some way look for help. Look for someone who, without trying to do it all by yourself, without trying to work it all out by yourself, without trying to take all the load, find someone who can help you with the heavy lifting. Find someone who can help you, who can intercede on your behalf, who can, just help out rather than feeling or doing it all by yourself, feeling it's you against the world, or that you have to somehow save the world, or whatever it is. That there's this kind of push to, not that you, and it's not suggesting that you can't save the world all by yourself, but you don't need to, and that there is help available. There's intercession. There's possibly even a suggestion of looking to the saint in the sense of the novena coming up. That's what you should be doing, is the days of the saint. So have a think about that. So yeah, good people of the internet. If you want to get one of your own readings, there's 1 card readings, 3 card readings, 5 card readings, and 9 card readings available to the various Patreon levels. Then sign up at tommykelly.com, TOMMIE, or go to the Patreon, links in the show description. And once a month, at the beginning of the month, we do this every month. Loads of other things over in the Patreon, if you want to get involved there. But mostly, it's not about you getting things, even though you do get things. It's about supporting all I do and allowing me to continue to do what I do, which I'm very grateful for the patrons that I do have, which allows me to do this. So, until next time, good people of the internet, may our best days be ahead, and be well.